I am here upstairs at the Basement Theatre with Chris and Eli. How you guys doing?
So good.
Also good. Similarly good.
Imagine I was like, terrible.
Awful. Life's been hard to us.
This is the last record of the Male Gayz. This is the last of my career.
We hate each other with the Simon and Garfunkel of comedy podcasts.
So you guys have just done your special Mother's Day episode of your podcast. So how was that like with a live audience?
So nice. I mean, you just kind of think that no one listens when you record them. It's just like you and Eli in a room. Sorry, me and Eli. Like just as myself. Me and Eli in a room and no one's listening. So then when people turn up, you're like, this is so nice. And then I was just saying before to my friends, having a live audience, like really confirmed my opinions on something. I was like really coming in strong because there was an audience there.
You went hard on Taylor Swift because the audience was with you.
Yeah, I was like, let's just go for this. I'm going to go brutal.
Yeah. It was bloody fun. You're calling it our Mother's Day special, but we literally decided to get our mothers to do that 2 hours before the show. We're like, what are we going to talk about
The
today?
highly anticipated Mother's Day special.
They've been teasing it for a while.
2 years in the making.
I wonder what the Male Gayz is going to do for Mother's Day.
Forget about it.
Yeah, but that has definitely been both times we've asked our mums for input.
Yeah.
They've outdone themselves.
It's so beautiful just hearing like their opinion, like their just curiosity around it is so genuine. I love it.
And it's quite freeing to be like, hey mum, this is what I want to know, and you tell me anything. Like, don't hold back.
Yeah.
It's really fun to do that because I think with your parents sometimes you're protecting each other, but it's nice to pull those walls down.
Now, when I was sitting there in the audience, I've got to admit, it definitely had a different energy when there's an audience and there's laughter and stuff. I think it definitely made an improvement. Do you think you'll do more shows with an audience?
I mean, I'd love to. There's something I like about Eli and I just being in a room because we're able to kind of, like, you're not kind of worried about laughs, so you can kind of share or reveal some stuff that, like, isn't just, like, naturally just, like, funny stuff.
Yeah. I think it's quite honest as well because you can kind of hone in on exactly the mood that you're in. Whereas if you're performing, like for instance, I was doing stand-up all last week and there were some nights where I was in like a totally shitty mood before I came, but then you kind of like get into the mood for the stand-up show. But in a podcast, it's amazing to do a live show, but it's also quite freeing to be like just in a room by yourself. And so if you're in a shitty mood, you can kind of like let it out freely without fear of what people are thinking, even though they are going to think stuff about it. You just don't have to know what they think immediately.
So the answer is no more live episodes. No, we'll definitely do more live episodes. It's so much fun.
It's the best. It's the funnest, yeah.
Even more fun than doing stand-up?
Ooh.
Look.
It's so hard to say. Right, I don't like... I put all that performance in the same kind of basket, eh? Like, I don't really compare, like, doing improv with my friends to doing shows with other friends and stuff by myself. Like, it's all just, like, it's all the goods. It's all the feel-good vibes.
Yeah, I don't really rank. I don't feel like ranking stuff because you can get the same amazing vibe from any sort of performance. So whether it's a kids show or a late night gig or whatever. So yeah,
it's fun just like sharing the stage with your best mate, and just like having a good old gossip with a couple of Chardonnays. Like it's a good vibe.
Yeah.
So throughout the whole show, you guys were having Chardonnays. How are you guys feeling now? Are you a bit tipsy or?
This is normal for me, having a few wines.
Yeah, a few wines on a Sunday afternoon is pretty normal.
Pretty classic. I mean, we don't usually have wines when we record the episodes.
No, this is only the second time. So the last one we did one with Reese Nicholson in the room next to this at 11:30 p.m. and we had a couple of wines before and during that.
Maybe we should start making it a thing.
I think so.
That's a good idea. Like, bring a bottle.
Well, it makes more of an occasion of it, so you're a bit more excited about doing it.
You kind of relax a bit more. You maybe say something you weren't supposed to.
So this is the start of our journey into alcoholism.
So thanks for supporting that.
So I heard that it took you guys 8 years into your friendship before you came out to each other. But did you guys kind of already know before you came out to each other?
Not for me. I was really surprised when our friend told, like, the friend that you were going out with, who was my best friend, like, she told me, like, at 3 a.m. in the morning. It was kind of this amazing thing, and then we, like, discussed it. But I hadn't come out by that point, and then I came out, like, a year later, or more than a year later after that.
Yeah.
You may have had. Did you have your suspicions?
Not really any more than anyone else, which is just that in Christchurch, everyone was so closeted, not just about their sexuality, but about everything like that. Like I would say that straight people were closeted in the way that they would just kind of like hide sides of themselves because it was. It's not necessarily conservative and repressed. Yeah. So I mean, everyone was having conversations about everyone possibly being gay, but then ultimately, by the time both of us came out, I think we were both at an age where it's like, who cares if people are gay or not? But then also, once we both knew about each other, fuck.
It's like zing,
zing, zing, zing,
ding, 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 ding. We could like talk about everything, but there's so much to catch up on.
A lot. Yeah. And that's what we're using the podcast for.
Basically, yeah. So once we learn everything, the podcast is over.
Yeah, it was a clock being gay.
Yeah. It's like I know everything about you now. We're done.
So, what's to come in the podcast? Do you have topics that you've always wanted to talk about that you haven't yet?
The big thing that we're probably building towards more is having more guests, and we've got people that are kind of like experts about things that we don't know about or who have worked in different fields that we're bringing in. We have an episode with my ex-girlfriend, my one and only ex-girlfriend, where we have interviewed her. We've recorded it once already, but then her mic wasn't on.
So we have to like wait and forget everything we talked about so that we could do it again.
We're waiting a good amount of time so that we can abandon those thoughts and then try again.
We also want to do a couple of like reviews, weirdly, but A Star's Born is one of the films that we want to review.
Yeah.
With when the Lady Gaga one comes out, which I think she's actually started filming now.
Yeah, there's a photo of her and Bradley Cooper, and it looks fucked up.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
We want to watch all the movies: the one with Judy Garland, the one with Barbara Streisand, and the one with Gaga.
We've got a review. We should do a review after the live. They're doing a live broadcast of Jesus Christ Superstar soon.
Are they?
NBC, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that, mate. Let's live stream that, baby.
Now, what I noticed when I was sitting and watching you guys is your facial expressions and the stuff that you do that when you listen to the podcast, we don't get. So have you guys thought about filming it as well and having like video content as well?
There's always like added extras you can add, but I listen to a lot of podcasts as well where I don't know the faces of the people who are talking, and then you watch the odd video and you're like, wow, like that's what they look like when they hit that kind of tone or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know, there's something kind of amazing about just like the purity of like podcasts and it just being literally it's something that you listen to. It's kind of like reading a book where you imagine what that person looks like.
Yeah, I like that about it. And also you can do it in the background. Like I often listen to podcasts while I'm doing like laundry or whatever, and the fact that you don't have to visually be paying attention to anything is what I kind of enjoy about podcasts. Although we filmed an episode the other day, and I don't know what it will look like.
Oh, was that with Reese?
With Reese, yeah. It's a very weird camera angle because it's my phone sitting on top of a bunch of like sweatshirts.
The camera's like smeared with like a thumb and it's like greasy.
It's probably not a good time.
Now, Chris, the first time I saw you was in Girls vs. Boys.
What?
Yeah.
That's a long time ago. That was like my first gig ever.
What was that like? Because your character didn't really speak.
Didn't speak at all. It was just my first gig out of drama school, so I was just like loving the fact that I was getting all this television experience but not having to say anything. So it was like a dream job actually, just like never read the scripts and just stand and be like a weirdo in the corner. Dream job, and the cast was so great on that. Yeah, weird. It's so buzzy that people were. It like was it really popular in like Finland or something? Like I've got like all these like 11-year-old like Finnish fans on Instagram. And they're like Olaf was my character's name. They like messaged me about it.
Yes.
It must have like played a couple of bits, but they've all that's all died out now. They've stopped doing it. I was like, I was about to say they've died out now, but they haven't. I'm sure they're all still alive.
They're thriving.
Imagine if that was like more of a cult hit. That would have been great.
That'd be sick.
But maybe like the way that I feel about being Eve, now people will feel like in a couple of years' time.
Being Eve was a great show.
With a great cast. And look at them now, you know.
Strength to strength.
So you guys have some shows coming up, right?
Yes, always. I'm doing Hudson Halls again, which is this theatre show where we play an iconic gay cooking duo from the 80s in New Zealand, and I play one of the duo, and it's this really camp 80s farce, but it's also kind of this important story about like New Zealand, gay New Zealand's like history, and so this kind of like little moment where we had these very like iconic stars who are like also gay, but also before the marriage, the homosexuality law reforms, you just weren't even legal to be gay in the country at the time was, a thing. So that's a great show, and I'm always doing that. So we're doing like 100 more shows of that, plus like all our things. What are you doing?
I got Comedy Fest next week. I'm doing a stand-up show at the Basement for 5 nights. It's called The Year of Magical Fucking. I've done it in Melbourne, Sydney, Dunedin, and Wellington, and that's finally in Auckland. And it's going to be cool.
You should do it in Antarctica.
No, too cold.
Too cold.
Too cold. I don't have a good winter
What
wardrobe.
the gay audience is like in Antarctica as well?
I reckon there has been under 100 gay men in Antarctica ever.
The grinder on Antarctica, you like turn on the app, it's like you and your colleague, and you're like, oh,
no.
well, at least then we know now.
You gotta keep warm somehow.
Aww.
Cute.
Eli, I was in the bathroom before, and there's a big poster of your show in there, so that's good publicity.
It is. The more people thinking about me while they pee, the better.
I thought you were about to be like, Eli's in the bathroom before. I saw you pee. How was it?
I had a look at your penis.
Gotta say, you talking it up a lot more.
You should be embarrassed.
So, where can people find you on your socials?
Oh, great question. Privately on Facebook. Add me as a friend. And Twitter, Krobker. At Krobker. It's the worst Twitter handle, but I'm sticking to it. Krobker. It's an amalgamation of all my names. And Instagram, Chris Parker 11. Good. It's very good branding, isn't it?
Really, that's good. The 11th best Chris Parker. I'm just, everything is just my name, Eli Matthewson, which has got 2 T's. Recently, I bought elimatthewson.com and I built a website, and I'm so proud of myself.
Anyone can make a bloody website, mate.
It took me so long. On a Squarespace thing, we just drag and drop pictures in or whatever. It took me so long, but I think it's beautiful.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
I need to make a Facebook page, I reckon.
Do it.
Yeah, you're right. Tonight, that's what I'm doing. So follow me on that when that gets made.
All right, well, thanks for your time, you guys.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers. Thanks for talking to us.
Tylor and Luke.